The birth of the Night King in Game of Thrones. On one day, 8,000 years ago, the children of the forest, in order to resist the invasion of humans, tied a man to a great tree, intending to inject terrible ice magic into his body. As the dagger pierced into the man's chest, the man let out a miserable howl. Soon, the cold magic gradually spread inside him, and his pupils slowly turned ghostly blue. Thus, the strongest undying weapon, the Night King, was born. However, the Night King's power was too strong. He did not choose to fight humans with the children of the forest, but had his own ideas. The Night King planned to turn all living creatures into zombies and make them part of his undead army. The children of the forest realized the seriousness of the problem and had no choice but to unite with humans, using all magic to forge the wall that stood for thousands of years, finally driving the terrible Night King into the land of always winter, so that he could never step into the world of men. Thus, 8,000 years passed. Humans had changed too many kings, and the existence of the Night King was regarded as a story to trick children. As time passed, the children of the forest had also long vanished from the world, but unexpectedly, the Night King, in the land of always winter, had already gathered hundreds of thousands of wights and used a spear to kill one of Daenerys' dragons. Then, with his ghostly blue fire, he broke through the mighty wall and led the army of the dead gathered over 8,000 years, ready to march into the lands of men, planning to turn all living creatures into his subordinates. And Jon Snow, who had witnessed the Night King and the wights with his own eyes, finally realized that humanity faced an unprecedented crisis, so he had to risk capturing a wight at the cost of many brave warriors' lives. He finally trapped one inside a box and brought it to King's Landing, the capital of the Seven Kingdoms in the south, hoping that Queen Cersei would command the Seven Kingdoms to unite with Daenerys' army against the invasion of the undead. However, as the two rival queens commanding all human armies, they both had the ambition to conquer the whole continent. How could they easily form an alliance? When Cersei saw Daenerys commanding the powerful dragons, her heart to refuse alliance became even firmer. Moreover, she did not believe that the zombies in fairy tales really existed until the Hound carried out a box and carefully opened it. Under the doubtful gazes of everyone, the thing inside quickly crawled out. Cersei was terrified by the horror before her eyes. Unexpectedly, the terrifying story told to children in fairy tales turned out to be real. At this time, the Hound hurriedly raised his sword and cut the wight into two halves. But the wight was not killed. The separated body parts still wriggled with their own will. Then Jon stepped forward, demonstrating that fire could kill the wights, or the dragon glass in his hand. He then ended the wight's life with one strike and said to Queen Cersei before him, what stood before them now was not a struggle between humans for land. The war that truly decided the survival of mankind was in the north of the wall, and the Night King's army of hundreds of thousands of wights was approaching step by step toward them. If we do not try to stop it, then the ruler of the whole continent will not be humans, but countless undead. After hearing Jon's words, the Iron Islands leader Euron thought of fleeing, because his country was on islands. The wights could not swim and would not reach the purge of the Night King, so Euron was the first to leave the meeting.